Lesson 2, Polyatomic Ions. Polyatomic ions can contain both ionic and covalent bonds. If you look in your reference packet at Table E, you will notice there is a full list of polyatomic ions. The atoms in polyatomic ions are held together by covalent bonds. They will form ionic compounds with other substances due to the presence of the ions. So ammonium, NH4, has a +1 charge, and chlorine wants to have a -1, so it can have the perfect octet. So what happens is the ammonium ion freely gives away an extra electron to chlorine. Since they are not bonded together covalently, because they don't share the electrons, this is considered an ionic compound. Here's some examples of some common polyatomic ions, and you'll notice that some of these you'll actually have memorized just by the number of times we use them throughout the class. And so we're going to practice determining if we happen to have a polyatomic ion, and if we do, is it a covalent or ionic bond? So which one of the following compounds contain both covalent and ionic bonds? Is it A, that has carbon and chlorine? This is known as carbon tetrachloride. None of these are metals, and since it's only 2 elements, we cannot possibly have a polyatomic ion in this bond. B is potassium chlorine. This is potassium chloride. This could be an ionic bond, and actually it is because potassium is a metal. However, it does not contain a polyatomic ion, so it cannot contain both a covalent and ionic bond. Here we have magnesium and chlorine. This is an ionic compound as well because magnesium is a metal, but we do not have a polyatomic ion associated with it, so that would not be the answer. Here we have ammonium, which is a positive polyatomic ion bonded to a chlorine. Now, even though it does not have a metal associated with it, since the ammonium is a cation polyatomic ion, this here contains both a covalent compound here within the NH4 and then an ionic compound between the NH4 with the Cl. So the answer would be D. So let's check our understanding. Why do compounds contain both ionic and covalent bonds? Well, what happens is when we have our polyatomic ions, those are always between covalent bonds. They're all nonmetals bonded together to form an individual ion. When they bond with other elements, they tend to form either an ionic bond, where they just want to give away the electron, or they could form a covalent compound. But typically we will have some sort of ionic and covalent combined.